Oftentimes we do a lot of subject, a lot of activities, and a lot of programs, and try to explain to the community important items and activities in the community. And they're all very important. But some of them are more important than others, particularly when they are ones that affect us as a community and ones that can play a role in our quality of life and the kind of resources and what have you that are in the community, and ones that we as individuals can play a part. So I'm more than a little happy today and a little proud and a little hopeful that this interview today will be impactful and effective and motivational, because we're going to deal with something that, and it's dated. There's a timeline, and there's a deadline that this has to be done, and it affects everybody. So I thought it would not be robbery if I have Miss Marilyn Stevens of the Census Bureau on the show today to talk about the importance of completing the census. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham. That was good, Miss Stevens. And as I said, she is with the Census Bureau, and she is here, and I know that she's confident, like I am, that we're going to get y'all fired up to do what you need to do to complete the census. But first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Assistant Regional Census Manager for the U.S. Census Bureau, the Atlanta region. We are a 7-state region. We cover Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, and South Carolina. My role is on the outreach side of the census. I manage the media team. I'm the liaison for 7 governors and the 78 congressional districts and our 14 Senate representatives. So it's a pretty big job for us. We have the largest workload in the nation.
That's outstanding. And then I know you do all of those, you cover all of those territories, but guess what? I want to talk about Bibb County and Central Georgia today, because that's where our reach is. Now, although it's not competitive, it's not billed as competitive, but in a sense it is.
Yes, it is.
And I'm sure you can explain why it's competitive.
Absolutely. The census is about 2 things: power and money. The primary reason that we conduct a census is for apportionment, to determine how many seats in Congress each state gets. Now, there are only 435 seats. Every state wants all 435, but it doesn't work that way. So you're allocated based on your population. The more population, the more seats. The bigger that state's voice, the more resources that filter down through the counties, the cities, and to our streets. And when you talk about money, it's real money. $675 billion in annual resources are allocated using funding formulas. And the heaviest weight in that formula are the population statistics that we collect in a census. So you can be shortchanged over 10 years if your population count is less than reality.
That's that, and then I think the important number in that is 10 years. So, I mean, not only do we need to do it, we need to do it now, because it's going to be a decade before we get another shot at it. Now, how is Bibb County doing?
Well, Bibb County, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I would be camped on your doorsteps, because I'm not happy. You could do much better. And let me give you just an example. Well, when you look at Bibb County, it's only at 50%. That means that only half of the households in the county have completed their interview, either by phone or by online or by mail. Now, nationally, 63% of households have completed, and statewide, 59% have completed.
So that means that we bringing up the rear, which we don't want to do. Because if in fact we don't get counted, then we're going to get less money and fewer resources and things of that nature. And then I just, if you will allow me to, I want to make an editorial statement.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to use the R word as it relates to this responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, not only as it relates to being counted, but also as it relates for those of us who have been counted and who got some influence in this community to encourage everybody. You know, our relatives, our auntie, ain't 9 of them, and you know, our grandparents and everybody now. Explain if you would. And this is Miss Marilyn Stevens. What's that big title you got again?
Assistant Regional Census Manager.
For how many states?
7.
7 states. So, but now explain to them, you know, how the process works. And I know that you all have just been over backwards, if you please, to make it easy. So I heard you say the ways that one could be counted, but talk about them again and kind of explain each one.
Right. And you know, when we say the census is important, it's easy and it's safe. About a month ago, I was on my once every 3-week trip during COVID to run some errands. And I got to the grocery store and then I saw this beauty supply store next door. And I said, I need to go in there. Then I said, I've been out too long. I need to go home. Got in my car, started to back out. But then something said, you're right here. The store is right there. That's silly. So I pulled back in the space, went inside, and someone recognized me and said, hey, Miss Census, how's that census going? And I said, have you completed your questionnaire? That's the first thing I want to know. The person said, you know, knowing you, if we don't complete it, you're going to be outside our homes in a tent in front, you know, in our yards. So the young lady who worked there said, why did she call you Miss Census? What is census? I've never heard of that before.
Wow.
And the person said, please don't say that. Please don't tell her that. So I explained to her in about 2 minutes what the census was and what its importance was and what programs. I said, if you ever heard of infrastructure, people talk about infrastructure, highway construction and roads and public transportation, and education for our children, such as early Head Start and Head Start program and free and reduced lunch programs in our schools, as well as Pell Grants for our college students, Section 8 vouchers, SNAP, WIC, Meals on Wheels for our seniors. And I went on and she said to me, she said 6 words. She said, all of those programs are important to me. I need to know about the census. All of those programs are important to me. And when I explained to her that we get once every decade to reset the pipeline of those resources. And I talked about Head Start, and she said, when my little girl was ready for Head Start, they said she had to sit out another year because she couldn't get an early Head Start. There were no slots. She said, but that didn't make sense. I said, it made sense because in the previous decade, people left the children off. And even with projections, they weren't funded enough to have slots for all of the eligible children. And I said, and the kids lose out. And we as adults lose out. Our communities lose out. I said, so we get this once a decade opportunity to ensure that our numbers support our needs for 10 years. Wow. And she said, wow. She said, wow. She said, I'm going to Google it. I said, no. Here's my card. I wrote on the back of it, my2020census.gov. I said, you can go online and I guarantee you, it would take you less than it takes the time to watch a commercial to complete that census online. I said, or you can call our toll-free number for the first time in history. We've got 3 options to self-respond, and you can respond by phone with a representative at 844-330-2020. And she kept saying, all of these programs are important to me. I left the store, and when I made my purchase, I said to her, I needed to make this purchase. I said, but something sent me in this store to talk to you because that's what's giving me the most fulfillment. But even when I got home, it still wrestled with me. So after I put my groceries away, I put some materials together got back in my car. I said, oh, the store closes in 15 minutes. Drove back there, went inside. She said, you leave something? I said, no, I brought something. I said, you told me that you were 27 years old. You've never heard of the census. I said, 10 years ago, you were only 17. And chances are someone else included you on their census questionnaire. I said, now you're a head of household. You're a mother, and you have a little girl. We have a book called Everyone Counts for children. And I said, I was going to bring you a lot of fact sheets, but I decided you can read this, you and your daughter can read this book tonight, and you both can learn about the census. And she can sit there with you after you make this historical step that you are participating in the first time that you have been counted on your own in a census. And she thanked me. And I just saw her just yesterday. And she yelled, she said, Miss Marilyn, is that you? I said, yeah. I said, don't I look cute thanks to you? And she said, I did my census and I did what you told me to do. Call 10 of my friends and tell them to make sure they completed and to call 10 of their friends. That's what we have to do.
Now that needs to be done in Bibb County immediately.
Yes.
So I think what I'm trying to emphasize, Ms. Marilyn, is that although some of the individuals who hear this may have completed the census,
yes,
but I think we need to make an appeal to the entire community, even those who have completed the census, to do what you just said. I like that idea. They call 10 of your friends, colleagues, cousins, families, or whomever, and then make sure that they have completed the census. Now, tell me how the form works. I mean, explain to them, what you have to do in order to complete the census.
Now, when you go online at my2020census.gov, you'll see the blue link that says Start Questionnaire. And when you click on it, the first question will be, it'll say Start Here, and it will ask, how many people were living in this household on April the 1st? That's our reference date. So what it means that babies born on April 2nd will not be counted in this census. However, they will benefit from the resources of this census over the next decade, if you think about that. And then you go ahead and answer all the questions. We only have one economic question when we ask about, is this household owned with a mortgage, owned without a mortgage, rented with rent, or rented without a rent? That just gives us an economic snapshot. And then we will ask, what is your birth date? And that's key. And when you put your birth date in, if you do online, it's going to automatically calculate your age as of April the 1st. And then it's going to ask you, are you Spanish, Hispanic, or Latino? And like I tell my family, we're not Spanish, Hispanic, or Latino. So don't call me and ask me why we're asking the question. Mark no and move on. However, if you are Spanish, Hispanic, or Latino, you can check with Mexican, Puerto Rican, or Cuban, or other Hispanic, and then write in if that's Dominican, Honduran, Guatemalan, Salvadoran, or whatever. Then you go to the race question. Okay, and if you consider yourself to be Black or African American, any member of the diaspora of African ancestry, you check that. And then guess what? For the first time in history, those foreign-born Blacks can put in country of origin. This is the first time in history, 240 years of the census. And you can write in, I wrote in African American on mine. One of my friends is Haitian ancestry. They wrote in Haitian. Somebody wrote in Jamaican, Nigerian, Ghanaian, Honduran. Even there's some Black Cubans, some Black Puerto Ricans. So that's going to be great to look at the snapshot. Now, if there are more than one person that lives in the household, you're going to answer all those questions for them, except there's one extra question for them. What is their relationship to the person completing the questionnaire? The person completing the questionnaire is person one. So then what is the relationship of person two to person one? And we've been asking this question since 1880. Now, but we've never had 16 options. The first option is same opposite sex, husband, wife, spouse, opposite sex, unmarried partner. Same sex, husband, wife, spouse, same sex, unmarried partner. Then biological son and daughter. And then son-in-law, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, child, adopted, stepson. It's like 16 choices. I didn't realize you could have so many relationships. Foster child. I mean, I was like, my goodness, I need to read up. And then once you answer all of those questions for everybody in the family, you just submit the questionnaire, and then you're going to get something will come on the next screen that says, thank you for participating in the 2020 census. You'll see your address and to give you a confirmation number. Now, I printed mine out because I'm a census nerd, put my picture on it and put it in a frame to hang it on the wall because
Right.
it's a historical document.
So now, I think you may need to emphasize, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the objective is to identify everybody and every living person who was there on April the 1st, even if it was a baby that was born on March 29th.
Yes.
You know.
Or April 1st. The baby was born on April 1st.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That they should be included. So.
And Uncle Buddy. Don't forget Uncle Buddy, because you know he counts.
Uncle Buddy, who live in the garage. Okay.
Until your husband said, Uncle Buddy's got to go. And then you don't want him in the street. So in our case, in our family, you know, I called somebody and said, you got to take Uncle Buddy off my hands just for a week until I can figure things out. So wherever Uncle Buddy was on April 1st, somebody's got to make sure Uncle Buddy is counted.
That Uncle Buddy is counted. So now when you say person one,
yes,
person one should be the head of household?
Not necessarily. And I'll tell you what I mean. Anyone at least 15 can legally complete the questionnaire.
Okay,
now,
hold right there.
Yeah.
So one thing I was concerned about would be some seniors who may have some difficulty in completing the form. So what you're saying is that senior could get their granddaughter or their niece or anybody living in the household to complete the form, and then
for everybody, yes.
Everybody in the household would need to be identified.
Yes, or they can call on the telephone and give all the information for everyone.
Okay, so you don't really have to complete the form. You can just pick up the phone and call.
You can call, and we have representatives. You actually talk to a representative, and they will. You can conduct the interview by telephone.
Oh, that's a really phenomenal. Now, I know that a lot of people don't like people coming to their houses. So talk about the advantage of trying to get counted, because everybody needs to be counted.
Yes.
You know, failure is not an option as it relates to being counted on, on the census. But I mean, I think I saw somewhere where, most people use one of those three methods, to get counted in lieu of, and which means that you don't have to worry about, somebody coming to your house, which they will do. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, starting last week on August the 11th, we dispatched our workforce to go out into the field to secure interviews from the households that had not responded to the census. So chances are many of you have been contacted by one of our enumerators. And we want you to cooperate with the enumerators. They must wear a mask. It is absolutely mandatory. I mean, it's zero tolerance there for us. They're to stand back 6 feet from the door. They are to conduct the interview outside. Now, if no one answers that door, they're going to leave a notice of visit card. And the card will let you know that we were there and that we will come back. However, if you go online at my2020census.gov or call the toll-free number at 844-330-2020, within 2 days of us coming to your door, we will not come back. Now, some of you have completed the census some time ago, and you say, well, why are you knocking on my door? We're also performing a quality check on the census that we do all the time. So you may be one of those households that we have pulled your address to come back to what we call re-interview, to see if, and it's not about you, it's just about seeing if the information matches and for a determination of the undercount or the overcount. So if we come back Don't get huffy with the enumerator. Cooperate, or just call the toll-free number or go online and just do it again. And that's all you have to do. It's just a quality check that we're doing. But either way, we want you to cooperate with the enumerator by giving the interview to the enumerator. And people are shy about talking to strangers. I mean, especially in this COVID environment or any environment, except if they're on the cell phone. But anyway, that's another show. But remember, census data is protected by two laws. It is protected by Title 13 and Title 44. What does that mean? Under Title 13, we can only publish information in statistical or tabulation form. We cannot reveal anything that will show even your address, your household, or any of your family members with what information you gave to us. The law further states that nobody can get your information. Nobody. No law enforcement, no police, no FBI. Don't worry about the FBI, the CIA, IRS, ICE, no immigration, cannot be subpoenaed by the courts, cannot be gotten by the president. All census employees have what's called lifetime sworn status. They reveal anything that reveals you, there's a 5-year prison term and or a $250,000 fine per infraction. And then under Title 44, census data is sealed for 72 years.
Wow.
So the last time we released something, in 2012, we released the 1940 census, and in 2022, we will release the 1950 census.
Wow. Well, that's extremely important because everybody is concerned about security. So what you're saying that now you dispatch the enumerators. So now when does this end? You know, and then,
right.
and then we only at 50%. So I mean, is there a need for us to rush and try to get it done?
Yes. Let me tell you, I get that question every minute of every hour of every day. Even when I'm asleep, somebody's texting me, Marilyn, when is the deadline? I said, the deadline is today. Today. We started this process of self-response on March the 12th. And because of the pandemic, we had this extended self-response period. Even though we will end the field operation at the end of September, on September 30th, but you need to self-respond today, right now. This is so important. I mean, right now, we're in the vortex of something that we don't understand with this pandemic. Our schools are in flux. Our healthcare is in flux. We're looking for funding to manage this pandemic because we don't know how long it's going to last, as well as most people don't realize unemployment insurance, one of those programs that's funded with these population statistics. Can you believe that? So this is really serious. So guess what the deadline is for you? For you listening? Today, right now. The deadline is today.
Yeah, because it's so easy to do. I wish you would, although you've said it, talk about how you can be counted again. You know, I mean,
for the first time in history, you could go online at my2020census.gov, or guess what? You can call on the telephone. Everybody loves to talk on the phone. Call and talk to the representative and give all your household information to that person, and you'll be done with it at 844-330-2020, or by mail. Drop it in the mail. But the fastest way is by phone or online. Now, if the enumerator comes to your door, be kind. Just cooperate and just do it with the enumerator, and they'll walk away, and everything is good. But the key is do it today.
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure you have what you need over the next 10 years.
Now, if in fact somebody does it today, and they are scheduled to be, is it the process on demand? So will the enumerator know, you know, that they don't need to go to that house, you know, because yesterday that person filled the form out? Or is there a possibility that the enumerator may still come, but they just would need to just tell him or her?
Right, that they've already come. Yeah, right. They can tell they've already been completed and said it should show up probably in your system in the next couple of days, because we load their workload on, and so that's only done every few days. So it still may be on there.
Okay.
But be nice. Just be nice. But the key thing is this: don't tell them you've done it when you haven't.
Don't do what?
Don't tell them you have completed it and you haven't done it.
Yeah. You don't. We don't want that to happen, because it's very, very important that everybody is counted. So talk about safety again and security, because they will not ask you and I think it's important that you repeat it. They're not going to ask you your social security number.
No, that's not. You'll see on the questionnaire, we do ask for your telephone number. It's not for telemarketing. There may be a need for us to call you back, and to instead of coming to your house, then we can just call you on the telephone. It's a follow-up. But as far as sharing your phone number, the law does not allow us to do that.
That's outstanding.
And, yes. And guess what? What I did, I got my godkids. I called them all. I said, look, you guys are teenagers. You do the questionnaire for the household. Right. So the 18-year-old was so happy when he got to the relationship question. Now, what are my parents' relationship? What's their relationship to me? And so he told his dad, he said, I'm now the head of household because I had to put you all on my questionnaire. And my dad said, well, I'm the one that pays the mortgage. So
this is a call to action.
Yes, it is a call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham, having interviewed Miss Marilyn Stevens. And what we will do, Miss Stevens, we'll scroll that information as it relates to the phone number and the website. But let me just thank you. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention your enthusiasm and your desire to make Bibb County not just 50%. And I've got the same kind of enthusiasm and desire. So be counted, get counted. It makes a difference. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna scroll all those programs that are affected by the census. And I think everybody, one way or the other, somebody we know is some way is affected by the program. So I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you. I want to keep you encouraged and just keep on fighting. And we're going to get this done. And before this thing is over, we're going to get Bibb County. And, we're going to lead the area. We're going to be one of the top areas in being counted for the census, because God knows we need it. This is a call to action.
A call to action. I'm
your host, Alex Haversham. Having interviewed Ms. Marilyn Stevens of the Census Bureau. Please pay attention to what she said and have a great day.
COVID-19 has impacted each one of us in different ways. The only way to protect each other is by working together. Here's a few tips to prevent COVID-19. Wear a mask. Wash your hands frequently. When you cough, cover your mouth. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth. Avoid contact with sick people. Clean and disinfect.
And this will help everybody get through COVID-19.
And let's protect Middle Georgia.